In a time where new releases are offering plenty of experiences that can be overwhelming in their variety and quantity, Final Fantasy XIV has been a game I've come back to for years. I've never been much of a play the same game over and over kind of person. Like a traveler, I mosey onto a location, smell the roses, possibly hurl a few profanities with my mic off, savor the experience, then leave for the next thing. With 14, that's been pretty similar, with the assumption I'd come back to it in the near future with a new patch release or expansion. Joining around the end cycle of Shadowbringers and approaching the end of the 5th, I've started to get a groove of how content is rolled out, and I found it to be a bit formulaic, predictable even. When Dawntrail came out, I had the pleasure to run through the main story with friends, taking G-poses like a virtual photo album of our time in this new continent as our characters approach the 100 level cap. That story of our group exploring off the beaten track and engaging with the battle content mechanics was the most compelling part of that experience, which in hindsight is what made the expansion for me, because I can recognize if I didn't have that social dynamic, I would have been quite disappointed with Dawntrail. The main story had a lot of potential, but I found it to be meandering without strong character work to make it a treat rather than a slog. Woke Lamont was okay, but the story's reliance on her inclusion made me grow exhausted rather than engaged. I'd rather have less of a character than too much. What I mean to say is Dawntrail's main story, a core aspect of 14's appeal, was eh. There were cool parts, I talked about a certain aspect in another video, but not as compelling as other experiences, such as my current favorite, Heavensward. However, sidestepping the base MSQ, the patches for Dawntrail have been great. The story is getting interesting, we're getting some cool antagonists, the gameplay mechanics have been really great. Like, having a dungeon where all the roles are split into 1v1s is an idea I never expected, but I thought was wicked. And the realization of how much fun the post-game would be was revealed in that RGB tower, the Arcadion, which has become my favorite part of the expansion and is often cited as Dawntrail's crowning achievement. This video is meant to articulate why I think Arcadion is Dawntrail at its peak, reaching the heights of what has come before, and why I believe the team can do it again. With that said, spoilers for the Raid series, of course. If you're watching this, you're probably into this already, but just in case you're not, this is your warning in case you want to discover this stuff yourself. There are some fun surprises in there. Okay, let's rock and roll. One of the major disappointments I had with Dawntrail was the execution of the tonal hook, its emphasis on being a summer vacation. It's a core point of the game's marketing with Tour Toral, a website that acted like a universe way of hyping up this land to explore and get immersed in. After saving the world from the embodiment of despair, this change in direction sounded great. However, the game is split into two stories, the Rite of Succession and the Solution 9 stuff. The first part was the promise of a cool adventure, exploring the land, but I found that part to be really boring. I got the impression with the lighter stakes we would have a more lax quest that would offer unique flavor and adventure. For a comparison, take JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, where the Stardust Crusaders travel to Egypt to fight Dio, with Part 4, where we focus on this one town and the people living within it. Compared to fighting stand users across the globe contracted by a vampire, spending an episode getting Italian food is a night and day difference, but with the lighter stakes you can do that. The variety, if done well, can make things so fun, and that part of JoJo is tied with Steel Ball Run as my favorite part. Dawntrail set the stage to pull that off, and I found it lacking. Toral looked beautiful, so much so that I completed the sightseeing log to savor that landscape. But the fun wasn't there. The Rite of Succession was going through the motions. And then the second phase of the story kicks in, that goes back to world-ending stakes, leading to another fight using Azum's rock candy to summon 7 other heroes to fight the final boss. The summer vacation was a backdrop to do the same thing again, but I have floaties on this time. However, this is the emphasis that makes the Arcadion Raid series rock. It immediately follows up on that summer vacation tone. Picture this. The baggage of previous adventures is put to the side. Your focus is defeating the strongest fighters Solution 9 has to offer, a tournament arc featuring WWE-style matches, champions using souls of monsters in the series with loud, attention-grabbing personalities, all while uncovering a conspiracy behind the ring involving the mysterious president. It's got stakes, not world-ending ones, but more tied to the city itself, allowing the Warrior of Light to get some rest and relaxation in the best way they know how. Final Fantasy XIV's big-time commitment has you grow an attachment to your character. If you played the game for a while, perhaps you have a primary job, maybe wrote out a backstory or personality or relationships with other characters. I certainly have, and didn't expect that when I first played. A defining part of the character is their love for fights, showcased in trailers and other moments of the games. Xenos, a longtime villain of the game, speech in Endwalker articulates that intention, that joy of climbing to greater heights with a cause that you cannot deny. which ties into the player's motivation too. The fights and the ever-changing dynamics of battles is one of the game's highest joys. A raid purely focused on that satisfaction connects you both. Raids have changed from their initial concept. Coils of Bahamut and Alexander were these mega dungeons, sectioned off with a mix of traversal aspects with fights. It gave the locations a sense of scale and imposing factor. From Stormblood onward, the Raid series had a focus on boss fights, 12 battles split into 4 in each of its 3 sections released over the expansion's patch cycle. From the outset, that may sound like a downgrade. Raids now guarantee boss fights that often feature a similar square layout. It's a simple concept, but the complexity comes in the execution of doing your role while engaging with the boss's mechanics and savoring the presentation. Arcadion's fights are great, and I want to highlight this, starting with the first section, the Light Heavyweight Division. Your first opponent is Black Cat, a rookie with claws ready to dish out a defeat. An immediate upgrade for the Raid series is the music. Previously, you had repeating tracks for certain portions. In the later parts is where those were shaken up. With Arcadion placing an emphasis on showmanship, each fighter has their own arena and theme music, giving each bout its own flair and personality. Black Cat is a solid start. The background is what you'd expect from the exterior. Glass panels encapsulate the floor. The music conveys this tone of excitement. A funky guitar and emphasis on cheering gives this air of enthusiasm. This is the start of the Arcadion, and by Heidelin, we're gonna kick it off with a bang. She does these claw moves where players have to be nimble, hopping between the sides and then eventually shattering the glass as it tumbles below the tower, incorporating these moves where she'll throw players into the air. A graphic displays where you'll fall. Perceptive players will notice their fall range and adjust accordingly. Failure to do so will result in plummeting off the ring and making the fight more difficult for allies trying to find a space to dodge. All of these fights are accompanied by the announcer playing to the crowd, commenting with characters successfully dodging or getting KO'd. The presentation universally through the Raid series adds to the spectacle, where even if a fight is your least favorite, you can't deny a lack of enthusiasm. The first fight conveys potential, both in your opponent and in the championship itself. After taking one of the cat's lives, Fight 2 is where the competition starts to take a life of its own with Honey Bee Lovely. Using the feral soul of a queen bee, this performer's looking to stir some hearts and sting those she can't. A performer outside of the ring, Honey's persona is showcased in a lot of fun ways. The lyrics are sung from her perspective through the fight as she sings about being adored by the fans. Everything you want and more. A main mechanic is charm. Before the fight, someone mentions her being a bee, she charms the audience using pheromones. A safeguard is in place for the viewers, but you will not be given that same kindness. During the fight, 3 hearts will appear. Getting hit by attacks in this phase will gain a heart. Some may need to be taken in place of allies, which will require fancy footwork. Failing to do so will create a huge area of damage, overcome with love for the combatant that allies will unfortunately suffer being around. It's a lot of fun. The bright colors and catchy music creates a playful experience as you're dodging globs of honey and dispersing to avoid damage from teammates. Paying close attention to the lyrics, you can also catch something else. While the lyrics talk about giving your love to the idol in a bubblegum pop sweetness, there's also an undertone of reality. Delivered in the same peppy style are lines talking about the monotony of life, how when trying to shine brighter than the highest star, the love given by the crowd is never enough. There needs to be more and more before doubling down to taunting the challenger. That certainly doesn't stop me from blasting the music into my headphones. After offering the sting of defeat, up next is Brute Bomber. This guy is your straightforward heel for this section, and he rocks, man. Aggressive, brash, and plays by his own rules, using the soul of the Bomb King. You fight in a square surrounded by flames. His battle is the most straightforward. In the fight, you can see a love for the game, the performance of the character. Like when he stops to chug a tonic mid-battle, an elixir later revealed to just be a prop. A ref bot shows up, claiming the illegal substance. Yeah, it cheated, so what, tin can? The Brute conveys, sending the rules keeper flying. The announcer calls him a scoundrel, but the fight keeps going. There's an admiration for the show, the audacity of the Brute Bomber that the audience will boo for as their eyes are locked to the ring. And as a player, that just makes you all the more happy to snuff out the detonation. The first 3 fights are straightforward fun. The here and now are the moments themselves. The overarching plot hasn't cranked up yet, which gets you to ease into the series. The heat before M4 changes that. Upon your crowning and the brute bomber aiming to take the title, the mysterious heavyweight champ Wicked Thunder appears demanding your soul. And on top of that, she's Black Cat's sister. While I'm not particularly knowledgeable about wrestling by my own experiences, from what I've gathered to be a joy of it by friends and others is the soap opera-like drama that plays on and off the ring, the commitment to these characters, and the conflict that arises from where their arcs are taking them. This setup, family relations, as well as your character nails that charm. The fight itself is a great one, and conveys the story in a way only a game can do. Wicked Thunder uses the power of Levinstein, showing electricity and technology exclusive to this corner of the world, Electrobe, to create a shocking spectacle. If I had to narrow down the tone of this fight, it would be grim determination. At this point in the story, you don't know the full context for her wanting your soul, but you get the impression she's run out of options. The guitar and drums in the song create this hard rock sound with lyrics of the character's disillusionment of the Arcadion. In the attempt to climb the mountain of success, she learned it was a lie. Now in a position too late to turn back, looking into the crowd and seeing the girls in the audience that used to be her, she continues to climb because it's all she knows. There's a mechanic that highlights this. Partway through, she'll pull out this huge cannon, destroying most of the ring but one line of platforms, followed by creating this sequence of shots, where to survive you'll have to dodge the volleys hopping between the 2 main sections. She takes your options from you, attempting to snuff you out with a mallet against a fly, yet to succeed in the fight, you take every inch of movement available and dodge, claiming the chorus of the song as your own. There's no going back, and you can try all you like, I'm gonna keep moving forward. In my favorite portion of the fight, she'll create this huge marker where players huddle together to split the damage. As your party uses defensive cooldowns and heals to survive the barrage of attacks, Wicked Thunder will yell, "How are you still standing?" Like the song's title, she's giving it all, and yet you refuse to cater to that ambition. This is where the plot really picks up, where the president's aims are revealed, and yet this does not detract from the lighter stakes. The fate of a few fighters isn't on par with the entire realm's existence being challenged. The intention is the same with all the supporting cast and antagonist: fight in the Arcadion and give a show they'll never forget. Constantly, that point is spoken for all of this stuff going on in the background, for the lives of previous fighters lost, for the psychosis that infects the souls from overuse and the dark secrets behind retirement. This is all presented in the name of showmanship. Entertainment meant to let the public feel the exhilaration in their lives often lack. The transaction of giving them however or whatever they project with the simple cost of their attention. In exchange, plenty are happy to make.
The Upstart's Cruiserweight campaign begins!
Starting the Cruiserweight block with M5 takes us back to the grooviness, with the opponent Dancing Green, a playboy, partygoer, and provocative partner looking to make your bout memorable with the power of a terrible toad. A good part of the battle is the performance itself. Attacks are named after disco moves like Snap Twist or references to songs like Do the Hustle. He attacks by pulling off moves with bright colorful lights glow and shine as the music comes alive. The lyrics sound like they're from a Daft Punk song, and the whole thing is about the exhilaration of getting the body moving. On the surface level, the aesthetics are a strong contender, but it's even how the fight works, because it's not about being the best, it's about having fun. During the fight, lights will shine onto the arena with a timer. If you end up in one when it runs out, your Warrior of Light will pull some moves to Dancing Green's enjoyment. It doesn't matter the class, from Dancer to Dark Knight, your character will boogie with the best of them. As it goes along, frogs with afros will moonwalk around the arena. What a cool sentence to write. And eventually we'll create this section where you dodge on the dance floor the direction they're pointing. Doing so for all the animated amphibians will give Perfect Groove, a temporary damage buff for the party as the excitement is running high and Dancing Green offers congratulations. Internally, Dancing Green has fallen out of love with this persona, turning into a grind, but I think in these moments were the ones he lives for. The moments when everyone's attention is locked onto you and you're feeling on point. Moving in that rhythmic way where the body goes beast mode and you're not thinking of anything besides savoring the here and now. And as that one friend who will make a fool of himself on the dance floor in any social function, weddings, raves, Renaissance fair, taverns, it doesn't matter, it's an intoxicating sensation, and this fight really conveys that joy. I especially like how Dancing Green offers buffs to his opponents. It shows his I win either way kind of attitude. Yeah, it's cool to be the victor, but it's a blast to let other people shine in the spotlight too. Up next is the street artist of Solution 9, Sugar Riot. Using the soul of a deadly pudding, she brings a few creative liberties from a standard bout and makes it an experience. Out of all the fighters in the series, Sugar Riot has my favorite design. The look conveys the streetwear fashion the inhabitants wear, and the paint guns reminiscent of Splatoon gives this impression of being in the loop of youth culture in this fictional setting. It's kind of like the Splatfests in that series, where you had to be there to really get it, capturing a particular vibe at a certain time. I also find it a cool touch that you can see her graffiti work around the city. But this modern-style Pictomancer will be creating stage hazards with inspiration from the battle, like a desert with prickly cactus, quicksand to swallow combatants whole, a nice gentle body of water with a few bridges that will foster lightning and fires as hot as Ifrit. The fight is playful and a bit cheeky. The song talking about how cool Sugar Riot is has this part where the singers rhyme in colors, and when they get the orange, with Arcadion going into whatever genre of music it wants, the electric and high-tempo rap fits really well. The track Back to the Drawing Board is one of my favorites. This one's going on the playlist for leg day. Now, both these fights are fun and groovy. You and the characters are on the same page for having a good time. But a point to consider is these combatants themselves. Both have other outlets besides the ring, so when the psychosis information is revealed, they can walk away with relative ease. Suppose it wasn't that easy. Suppose that this one avenue was all you had. And consider how difficult it would be that this drive you have given your time, sweat, and tears for was slowly killing you. Best to extinguish the fuse so the bomb doesn't go off. This is the conundrum Brute Bomber is forced to explore. The Arcadion is his everything. It took him from a shy kid with a speech problem and turned him into the heel of the Arcadion the crowd loves to hate. This has been his fuel. There is no goal to work towards. The show is the reward. He and his best friend, the man known as the Howling Blade, Cruiserweight champion, feel indebted to the ring, to the president who has given them their shot and their biggest supporter. So when the news is dropped, the Brute Bomber doesn't take it well. Even more so when he's diagnosed with psychosis. So what's to be done? Retirement is out the window. What's the point in living when your fire is out? Make a new one? There isn't enough time. So he does the next best thing. Light the fuse and go out with a bang. Fighting the Brute Abominator in M7 shows movement possible with this type of fight. 1-on-8 and in arena. Instead of just a ring, with you being within the city, the fight has you constantly changing locations. First a platform, then flying into a different one before crashing further inside a building. The fight shares some similar mechanics with the original fight, but throws in some new ones with this consumption of mass feral souls. Adds get spawned in at a point, and the party will be turned to stone unless their corpses block the line of sight. It's an engaging fight, though narratively it's tragic. Yeah, the Brute Bomber wasn't the nicest, but you get the impression a lot of his malevolence was from the shtick than personal animosity. And seeing him like this shows the price of the Arcadion. With entertainment, people put themselves into their projects or medios. You don't put up with grueling hours or practicing over and over because you love doing it all the time. You do it because you care about it. Enthusiasm comes in waves. Putting in enough reps can reflect back some progress, and that's great. Yet, it's possible to give too much of yourself for your art. You could just make something great, and that may live on, but it's up to everyone creating to find that balance of consistency and sustainability, or the bomb goes off with bits of char left behind. After an event like that, what direction does the tone go? M8 offers the approach of hopeful determination. And it's my favorite part for that reason. All the components come together to highlight the joy of this raid series. Writing off the victory of the Abominator, the player challenges the Cruiserweight champion Howling Blade, a fan-favorite babyface using the soul of the legendary Wolf Fenrir. Coaxing a fight out of the guy requires promotion and leveraging public opinion to have him accept the duel. One where he hangs up the blade if you win. It's done with good intentions to ensure he lives from psychosis, though getting to play heel against a heroic character is pretty fun too. But much like his friend, this is all he has. So he demands you also offer up retiring your passion if defeated. There's a grim resolve within the blade. He's aware of the Arcadion becoming a gilded cage, beautiful, magnetic, intoxicating. Yet it's more like a blender when fighters are done with. He knows the bomber is gone and he'll be leaving soon. Yet there's something else that shines within. One of the coolest parts of Final Fantasy XIV, similar to wrestling or battle-focused anime, is fights aren't just an interlude to the next plot point, they are the story. The Phase 2s, where the boss casts aside appearances to ensure victory, or where the player acts more aggressively, turning the tides. There's a physicality, which isn't just cool, it's a part of the tale of that sequence. A previous scene can tell us about a character, but getting to lock blades shows a more intimate side, because it's a conversation. Weapons are a form of communication, conveying what words can't. It's why I love that warrior's pride trope. It's an exchange where two people see each other honestly. It's why the Xenos fight in Endwalker is still one of my favorite parts of the game. Arcadion has been awesome at showing this. The lyrics of songs like Give It All, showing Wicked Thunder's desperation, the joy that radiates on the floor like Dancing Green, or the playful curiosity of Sugar Riot. In M8, located on a floating platform, is where you and the Cruiserweight champ lock eyes, turning into a Gundam-looking thing, which I was a little taken aback at first, but welcoming it like a prodigal son on replays. During the fight, he'll dart across the ring, jumping to one end with a thrust before following up with a large sweep. Moving so fast, clones leave an imprint within space for a few seconds before damage registers on your health bar, deploying lasers and creating columns of rock that get destroyed, debris causing damage for those unfortunate not to realize the direction it's fallen. The fight is using every skill the fighter has, and throughout it, you feel this sense of joy. The song highlights this too. Before the chorus, you have lines showing the Blade's knowledge of his situation. He's not getting a happy ending. He'll be hated no matter who he is because of what others see in the persona, and robbed of decisions. But there is one truth he knows for absolute certain. And then the chorus kicks in.
You son of a bitch!
Must have heard, but they're not out of the fight yet.
I didn't know that.
The fight is a showcase of passion that's infectious. It's a love for the now. The world can be a complicated and brutal place, but this right here is what it's all about. Put all of that baggage to the side and accept the present for as long as it's here. Test your reflexes with those who can meet you on this level, because this is the delight of making your art. It's freaking awesome. It's an acknowledgement for the dark, but insisting there is a joy that is worth the struggle. And as the fight goes along, it invigorates the Blade. His attacks will get faster, you respond in kind. When you finish, the fight is not tragic, it's delightful. You push each other and share this moment. Regardless of what happens, you have given him the best fight in his entire career. That's a solid send-off. Now we move on to the heavyweight fights. The combatants are already on the same page. They know their condition and choose the fight anyway. Perhaps your soul can assist in their recovery. M9 kicks off with Vamp Fatale, using the soul of a very naughty bat. This pain enthusiast is looking to share that gift with you. Visually, the fight is a neat callback to the earlier sections of Pandemonium, a carnival of humanoid misery. Vamp extracts with glee. From whirling buzzsaws called the Coffin Maker that will destroy the map if not destroyed quick enough, or a ball and chain flying from above players will have to catch and destroy in time. Vamp's persona is that of a sadistic combatant, and it's rather cheeky how the game conveys this. Since the game is rated T, often some of the themes explored aren't necessarily said out loud. So much like previous production codes of filmmaking back in the day, adult topics were often implied or suggested, and with this fight, the game revels in teetering with that. Vamp's design is that of a dominatrix, and her move Half Moon uses her heel to send a projectile on one side of the arena before following up with the second. The lyrics playfully articulate that with lines like, "I'm a bee with an itch to scratch, so don't test me," "On your knees," chanted by the audience, "Ready or not, bottom or top, what do you have in mind?" and "Here we got no safe word, honey. Put down your magazine, all eyes on me." That line is funny because it references her rivalry with Honeybee Lovely. Both female fighters using their persona for attraction, two sides of the same coin. But one does so with this sweet persona, the other aggressive to a point where it's captivating. One of my favorite moments is with the Tank Buster Hardcore. A red ring circles around the frontliners, and they need to disperse from their party or risk heavy damage. As the fight goes along, it grows bigger and bigger, until it creates immediate panic when the bar starts filling and the party is encapsulated in range. It's a fun gotcha that has me making concerned yelping noises every time it shows up. But your character won't be taking this lying down, and thus end up on top for a spectacular finish. Now grab your board and think about your favorite bromance. It's time for the Extremes! The duo of Deep Blue and Red Hot. Surfers using storm diver souls to double team the competition. The area feels like a colorful water park, and the tone goes for a fun summer afternoon. The music sounds like it's from Blink-182 and features lyrics about self-acceptance and being the person you can be proud of staring back in the mirror. The first part has the two swapping between each other, Red Hot targeting fire at certain players, while Deep Blue uses waves to send the party flying. Before they decide they work better as a team and fight you at the same time, each splitting their attention of half the party and combine their strength, unleashing chaos in the arena, and can lead to a wipe pretty easily. It's a blast. The two are inseparable. Literally, they have a passive called Brotherly Love where they share damage between each other. Compared to a lot of the heavier thematic stuff, there's something so cool in these two sincerely caring about each other. Like that one friend of yours who just goes, "Bro, I love you, dude," and genuinely means it. Like, that's gold, man. Never pass up an opportunity to tell the homies you love them. Idling, damn it, fellas, you guys are great. While they take a trip to the Undertow, it's time for the head honcho, the current Arcadion champ, the Tyrant. A traditionalist of the fighting tournament, he sees you as a fad, a gimmick to be put as a footnote of the past, choosing the soul of the behemoth to finish the job. In cutscenes, this guy demands the scene, and it's a treat. I lost it when he did like Otacon finger guns mid-speech. The fight is a sick one. The first phase has him using weapons with different effects, then once in second phase, utilizing more of the behemoth's power, he'll start creating meteors in a remixed way if you're familiar with fighting this creature throughout the expansions. As the fight occurs, the song Absolute Tyranny is hyping up how awesome this guy is. The chorus has the audience cheering and the lyrics talk about him holding the crown. At first I wasn't into the song, but replaying it, it's grown on me. And the moment where he picks up half the ring and throws it is still one of the most hype moments in the raid series. So now that the king has bowed to the conqueror, you are now the champion. Kind of. This is where the president makes his visual debut, being consumed by the Lindworm and its regenerative properties. You are positioned as the hero. Strike down the villain for all to see in solution. Now, for a battle like this, if you for some reason haven't played this raid series yet and still watching, first off, thank you. Hope you're enjoying it. Second, what do you think this will sound like? Perhaps a heroic theme for this monstrous foe? Maybe a choir if we're feeling righteous? Perhaps some brass if we're feeling bold? Well, I do want to preface that the composer Masayoshi Soken wanted to do a collaboration with Tom Morello from music groups like Rage Against the Machine, or as I was surprised to learn a few days ago, that character I would play in Guitar Hero 3. Also produced by Tyler Smith, and lyrics written and performed by Caleb Shomo of Beartooth. And here's the result.
Never had a choice, never let the ops win. Calm them nerves, got the whole world watching. Ready, set, go, and there ain't no stopping. Only one option, light it up.
I have gotten so hyped for this every time I run this raid. The ominous atmosphere of the recreated theater of old, the chaotic way the Lindworm pulses as its organic material layers on top of each other, and all sorts of abominations, like a dragon head or a debuff to hurt the party after a certain amount of time. The music adds a lot. Unexpected unless you know about the collaboration between the artists, but wicked. What's cool is how the song can act like a theme for the Warrior of Light. You have climbed the peak of Arcadion, and now it's time to ensure the title of champion. There's an edge to it. You're taking all of this down, well aware of your potential, and anyone who says otherwise can wait in line as you limit break their will and have them accept a knockout. It's the exhilaration of the fight that is the real prize as you bring the president down in style. The Arcadion ends on a happy note, and while I think the story would have worked better with some more weight to its consequences established before, I'm also not a writer for the game. I still think Arcadion is peak Final Fantasy XIV. It's not just the music or the fights or the hype that my friends and I expressed when something awesome happened, it's the reminder that the team can still cook. I see a lot of potential with this game and where it can go. Maybe it won't achieve that, or I'll walk away from it. Not because it sucks, but it could be that realistic, although not dramatic realization that I had my fill. What I can say is I'm still excited to see what else is possible. While Dawntrail is my least favorite expansion so far, Arcadion shows that doesn't mean it's not special. And so, your amateur bard will saunter on into the digital landscape, taking plenty of breaks along the way and looking forward to pursuing the next adventure. I have some winter clothes to start considering. Thank you for watching.